Right guys, now here's our mock-up of the pipe. This blue goes all the way back through here, starts up the front, and we'll probably have a plate in there, moulded in a lot better, but a fixed plate in there, or lugs built into the side with sloped support, so actually when it prints it doesn't need any supports. And then we'll print out two plates with a hole for this, and it'll screw straight in, one there at the front, one towards the join that's going to be around here somewhere. Not actually sure, but what I was thinking last night, what I might do is actually make this section from about here to here one of the sections, and actually have a plug built into that so it plugs into the back of this section, and in that wall, in this part, there will be that plate and that hole. So, and the pipe goes all the way through, and this little red one represents this one I've just printed, which is a nice snug fit, so that could fill out the back of that and still fit with the actual buttstock. Goes in fine, won't be anything hanging over, so that'll be good. And what I've done with the pipe, when I finally got the right size, I took it into the bolt, intersected with the bolt, and now when you move the bolt, you get the movement of the barrel. You can see it going through, which is pretty cool, I reckon. And I'm probably going to put in a cocking handle, maybe using one of these holes, extending this out a bit and putting a nut in there that I can screw something in. I'll have to put a cocking handle in because you want to be able to see the bolt move. A couple of things I've still got to work on. Oh, I did this little box as well, this whatever it is round counter, and what I've done with that is I've made it all into individual pieces. I haven't combined it yet. When I do, it'll probably be the center section with all these things stuck to it, and then the two ends. And the front end's pretty basic, very simple. The back end, it looks as if it's got a round counter in it, so I might see if I can find one to fit in there. So I've recessed that and got it already in a hole for an LED light. Things got LED lights all over it. But that's where I'm at the moment. So I'm pretty happy with that little thing. I'll get to combining that all later. I'm pretty happy with the barrel and everything. And I think I'm virtually done, except I've just got to go over and do all the little details. So I like those two little lugs there, I've got to add them to here. And there's all little bits and pieces all over the place that I've got to sort out. So I'll also use these two rods. I'll just anchor them at either end straight through. And so this end of the rod will also be anchored into that end cap that'll be built into this part. So it just, two on either side, and the steel, it'll be very well supported. I'll make them out of like aluminium tube or some copper pipe or something, so it's, you know, it's not like it's going to be plastic and it's going to snap. And we'll find a nerve spring that'll fit the back of this, which shouldn't be a difficult problem, and we'll chuck it in the rear end. So we're cooking with gas. Speaking of which, it's 40 degrees, so I'm getting out of this shed. I'll see you again tomorrow, guys. Hi guys, Andy Work back in. I was hoping to avoid this, but it happened anyway. The last place we left off, it looked pretty unfinished. Well, today I've just sat down for 3 hours and made a lot of progress. There's our Maelstrom. Now there's still areas to finish. I've still got to do the still got to do all these switches and work out the internal so the bolt can move back and forward. But we've got the bolt, we've got our little doohickey box there. I've even moulded the little, this is like a little holder for that hose that comes over here. What I'll do is I'll strap a couple of strips of metal, screw a couple of strips of metal that grip that hose, which you can see in, when I did this I just had a flat plate, and obviously it's not, there's this big chunk out of it, and that necessitates the actual rear part going out, being wider. It's a different shape than I actually drew because I didn't observe it very well. There's a small half circle sort of chunk in the front that takes up a bit, then it bleeds out. In one of the other photos, it's a really good, yeah, there it is. You can see how it sort of comes out at an angle. The trouble is it also goes back into this area here, and that part from the back there is pretty good. I'm quite happy with that. I really don't want to do anything there because I spent a lot of time doing stuff there. So what I'm going to do is try and put this, what do you call it, fat bit from here and blend it in just at this ridge. So just have it come in about the same level as that. So I'm going to see how I can do that. I have no idea, but I'll give it a go. Now, I really have to be careful with battery time on this camera, so I'm just going to do it and I'll get back to you guys. Right guys, I've just finished doing this piece, and it was basically just drawing this shape here. Hang on. This red shape here, and just extruding it along. But what I did with SketchUp, there's a tool called the Follow Me tool, and you can extrude something along a curved path. So I've just dragged it straight along and then just curved it down out of the way, and I'm just in the process of deleting these parts, but it blends in there pretty well. As you can see, I've got the flat end and the curve that goes back, and it seems to suddenly stop here, which sort of makes sense. But I've just made it a curve just to make it a little bit more aesthetically pleasing, and also not to have a sharp flat sticking out in the butt, because on the other side it would probably dig into your shoulder, depending on left and right handed, whatever. It's going to be covered with this, I've been thinking of this as a pair of underpants, because that's all it looks like to me, but I'll work out something there. So there's the original butt, and yeah, that area was bad, so was the front, but I managed to draw something a lot better, I think. We've got this whatever you want to call it, chine flat plate, and we've got the curved side, and I think it looks a lot better, also a lot smoother against the side of the shoulder and the face where you rest your cheek. Yeah, so that I reckon worked really, really well, so I'm very happy with that. And that now is going green, and it actually fits with the butt plate a bit better too. Now what I'm going to do with that is just put some on these points where these alleged screw holes are, put some protrusions, put some indentations in the butt, just glue it on. I want to print it separately so it's got a nice smooth surface. Also, I've put all these little sort of indentations around the edge here. You can just see them through in a couple of drawings. I don't know, it could be elastic on the underpants covering that, or probably is. But anyway, they're there. And obviously this area is naked, bare, because I haven't decided, you know, the size of tube, and when I come to it I'll put a little bit of detail in there, but that just have to wait for now. Right guys, back again, another really long session. Now there's a bit of junk everywhere, but just bear with me. So what I've done, this part here, this back end, I'll drag it up, I've cleared this space for the bolt to come back as far as possible, and I've incorporated a hole, for want of a better term, here, which will take a bolt. Now luckily I've found some threaded rod in my shed. It's 6mm I think. I just got to get some nuts, and that will go through that hole right up to the front support plate. So right through there, right up to here somewhere where there'll be a plate, and that'll be screwed in at one end and bolted in at the other, that sort of thing. So that'll just give me a little bit of additional strength, and that will run through this piece of pipe, which is going to be from there to again to this bulkhead. So that'll probably be about 8-10mm, probably 8, the smaller I get it the better. So that'll give me the 2 rods plus the piece of pipe the whole thing will be running on, which will be really well supported. And in addition to that, that actually didn't take long. That took about an hour. The other 3 hours were just doing these 3 little bits, this detail stuff. Yeah, just doing this little stuff. The proportions to this and this flat switch thing, whatever it is, bolt release maybe, that's what it seems like to me. And they're still working on somewhere to put a cocking handle. Got to get to that. And that goes on both sides, so that's not a problem. I can just copy and flip that, and that's where I'm at. And I think that literally is the last major piece of detailing I have to do, so I can start working out where the cuts are going to be. Now what I'm planning to do, this piece, this green piece, I'm going to print as 100% filled, because it's got a lot of tension. It's got the pipe coming in the back, the two rods going up there, and it's a very small piece, and it's also got to have the pistol grip attached to it and a trigger mounted in it and all these things, which hopefully I will make movable. That can be 3D printed. This thing I think I may actually have to cut out of a bit of mild steel and put a hidden pin through there, because it seems to pivot at that point. So issues to get on with and problems to solve, but I'll get there. Right guys, okay, just been doing some work. Now it doesn't look like much has happened, but actually a lot has. So what I've done is first remove that little bad clamp. I've got to redo that, that's not a problem. And I've also, let me just remove that, modified these to take the rearward movement of the bolt, and it's matched to the front bit, so there's no like edge there that it can catch and get jammed up on. So I've got that. There's the bolt there. I've even, and when you draw back the bolt, let me just get it on this line, there we go, goes back to about almost the wall, and this is the first time I've checked this, and the cocking handle I've put in is just hitting that, so that should be good. What I've also done is recessed the front of this area. I'm going to put a piece of 3mm foam in there, so when this slams forward, nothing's going to be shattering and breaking. So there's that, done all that. Now get that back where it goes. And what I've also done is recessed a hole in the bottom of these two rear pieces. Just put that other one back. And what I've also managed to do is I've got the pistol grip. I've just got them grouped at the moment. Let me just drag it down. So I'll put just a big fat lug in the top of there and a recess in the bottom of this. So I'll just slide in, bit of glue, but also that bolt hole there just happens to go straight through the center of it, so I'm going to modify that. That's why this plate is red, so to remind me. So I'm going to modify a hole that can go straight through, just like a screw or something, and also it's to remind me that the edge of this plate isn't blending with the body, so I've just got to fix that too. That won't be a great problem. And also anything that's red I've got to deal with. I've got to put a trigger in with the spring. That won't be a problem. I've got to put the trigger guard in. I'll probably print this separately and just glue it in. So we're getting there by stages. And so this back end's almost finished. Then the center, which is pretty much done, because in cleaning up this I've had to clean up that side too. And then I've just got to put the cut in here and work out the join there. And I think, if I'm lucky, and I usually never am, that should be it. I've decided to bite the bullet and put a cocking handle in, so you could call it a low caliber diet. Yeah, sorry. And what I've done, I've made myself just a mock-up of a bolt that I've got lying around here. So that'll go through this 3D printed piece, and it goes straight through the center of that hole, and I'll just slot a nut in there and tighten it up. So we've actually finally got a cocking handle. Yeah, you can see it in there, and we've even got something that looks like a bolt face. It's not going to be seen much, so I just did something quick and simple. I've taken the little corners off the edge of this just to make sure there's nothing it can catch on as it gets cocked, and we're good. So I will talk to you again soon. See you later.